I get a phone call from someone in his office and says, there's something going on over tomorrow at 20th Century Fox. We have a pass for you to go on the lot at 3:30 in the afternoon. Go to a certain bungalow and you're going to see a casting director. I said, oh, well, what is it about? Well, we don't know. It just, we heard that they're looking for young guys. Says, okay. So the next day I went there and I went to see the casting director. He didn't mention what it was. He talked to me for a couple of minutes and said, would you like to meet the executive producer? I said, sure. I figured everybody got to meet the executive producer. Well, actually, that's not true. But I went in and I met William Dozier, the executive producer, and I walked up to him, and maybe because I hadn't been rejected before, I was kind of very open. I just shook his hand and said, hello, sir. And I think he was taken aback a little bit by my friendly aggressiveness. And he said to me, you're kind of big for this part. And I said, oh, but sir, I promise you, I won't grow anymore. And he kind of laughed. He said, would you like to do a screen test? I said, sure. I figured everybody got to do a screen test. Well, that's not true either. So it was arranged for me to do a screen test. Again, I had no idea what it was whatsoever. I went to the studio, and as part of the screen test, they wanted to see some of the martial arts. I had started studying martial arts and actually had become a brown belt in karate. So I did some stuff with martial arts and stuff. And then I did a scene where it just said on the script, Bruce and Dick. Didn't say Bruce Wayne, Dick Grayson, didn't say Batman, just a single piece of paper with a couple of paragraphs, Bruce and Dick. I was introduced to Adam West. I sat down with him about 15 minutes before the screen test, and in the 5 minutes, the two of us were laughing. We never stopped laughing for more than 50 years. Became instant best friends. Just really unusual because that normally doesn't happen. We did the screen test, Bruce and Dick. I said, well, thank you. And I started to leave. They said, wait a minute. We're not done with you yet. We want you to go over to the other side of this sound stage. We have two wardrobe men there. They're going to help you get into an outfit. And I said, well, no disrespect, but I'm perfectly capable of dressing myself. They said, no, you don't know. You just go over there. They're waiting for you, and you come back. I go over there. I see a little trailer. I go in. There's two guys and all this stuff on it looks like a big a couch or something. And I said, am I going to put some of this on? They said, no, you're going to put all of it on. I said, what? I put on this stuff, most uncomfortable thing in my entire life. I could hardly move. I could hardly see because of the mask. And as I started to stumble out of the trailer, I turned to them because I'm a positive person. I said, you know, the good news here is that after another 15 or 20 minutes, I'll never have to put this thing on again. Famous last words. Did the screen test. I still didn't know it was Robin. I thought it was some Shakespearean thing. And there, Adam in this cowl. You see, where I grew up, there were Superman comic books. There were no Batman comic books. So I never heard of Batman and Robin. And then afterwards, and I still didn't know, after I left, I waited 6 weeks. And after the second week, once a week, I would get a phone call from the studio. Oh, what's your shoe size? Oh, well, it's 7.5. What's your hat size? Well, I never wore a hat in my life. Well, go get your head measured. Well, where do I go to get my head measured? You know, I mean, you have to understand that very simple things that I was having a hard time complying with. Anyway, it was 6 weeks later, and these agents who had never talked to me since then called me and they said, come on in, we're going to sign contracts. I said, great. Oh, now I'm going to be formally represented by an agent. So I went there, sat down, and I looked at the contracts. It didn't say the agency. It said 20th Century Fox. I said, well, what's this? They said, well, those are your studio contracts. I said, you mean I got the part? They said, sure. Didn't the studio tell you? I said, no. And it turns out the studio thought the agents told me. The agents thought the studio told me. I had the part for 4 of the 6 weeks, and I didn't know it.
Oh, my God.
That's the story.
Wow.